All right, I think I have covered everybody. Is there anybody still online that I may have missed that didn't get an opportunity to check in and say hello or share some information? I did want to do this morning. I know it took a little longer than normal people, but it's always nice to give you guys the interaction rather than everybody sitting there for an hour or two listening to people yak along. So it's always good, and I'll periodically do that as the year progresses, as we get new people aboard and share information. So. All right. So the last thing that I had, and I know some people had to leave and that, and if you do, thank you for coming aboard this morning. We'll definitely see those next week. I know Janice and a couple others wanted some information on a project that we did talk about and did extensively on a Zoom get together last year. But it was brought up on some of our roundtable discussions, and that is a very simple program. There's a program that you can look at called Geochron. Geochron is they made clocks, mechanical clocks, and then it went into the software where you could hook it up to a computer. And basically, as we've been talking about propagation and that, and Igor has been talking about gray line and that, um, it's a wonderful type of program and that, but it's relatively expensive. You're looking at about, by the time you pay taxes and everything, it's a dongle thing that plugs in to your computer and it projects the gray line and the clock and does all the various different avenues on it. You just have to Google Geochron and you'll see what I'm talking about. Radio World sells it and that. But it is very expensive, and for the average amateur in their shack, it's not very practical. However, looking online, and Tom, TSS, came across this one day, was the what we call the program called Ham Clock, which basically runs off a very simple Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi application with it. And of course, this is a Raspberry Pi 2. Uh, I had one of these spare ones, and there Janice is showing up her Raspberry Zero, which is fine too. The problem with the Zero, with running this type of application, is that you need adapters to be able to plug in a wireless mouse or a keyboard to program various things with it. Normally, you have a number of USB ports on a Raspberry Pi 2 or 3 or 4 that you can plug
Okay.
in different things. And I have a couple of dongles. One, because this is a Raspberry Pi. Two, it doesn't have the built-in Wi-Fi in it. So I had to put in a Wi-Fi dongle in one of the USB ports to be able to pick up my internet. And two, I have a dongle that runs my wireless mouse and wireless keyboard.
Yeah.
So I'm able to connect to the Raspberry Pi and be able to program. Now, the actual program is called Ham Clock, and I have a large screen TV in the shack here just in front of me. And when I project it up on the screen, this is what it looks like, as you can see with my camera here. And all kinds of information with it. You can put your call sign in. It's got time in UTC that comes across with it. Then you have, if you want, sunspot cycle, which is 43 today. The solar flux is 107.8. And you can put the sun cycle, different types of information in that square. And then you have your local box with your local information that you have in there. So I am in grid square EN95. It shows my lat and long. and it shows the present time as 12:23 on January 8th. But then you've got a DX square that you can go in here and put a particular area so that you know where you go. And with the mouse, you've got a screen here. The other interesting thing is it'll do so much more. You can do, if you click on the DX, now you can do satellite information. So let's say you want to follow the International Space Station. Here's the ISS information here. So all I do is click on there, highlight the ISS, go up here to the corner and click on OK in the corner of the screen up there. If you can see it, it may be hard. And once I do that, now what happens is now the path of the ISS International Space Station is now on here, and it gives the information on that, but it'll do any amateur satellite you want, and it shows that the space station now is over Russia, I guess, or China, someplace over there, and will eventually, and it'll show the track that it'll eventually go, and eventually you put in your coordinates, you get a spot here where I'm located, and if you see the track going, if you go back here and go on here, the different colors within up now, red, so NOAA 20 is up now, so if I click on that and click OK, you're going to see this satellite coming in close proximity to me here, and it's right there, and there I am right there. So the circle or the project is covering me fine that way with it. So, and it's going to be in for another 6 minutes and 25 seconds there. So I mean, it's an excellent type of device to do all of this, and it doesn't cost anything. That's the beauty of it. It's all free. And if you want to find different things, you can click on the terrain here, and you can look at different maps. I've got terrain, but if you want countries, click on countries and click OK at the bottom here. And what's going to happen is you've got all the countries that are separated and that on the clock. So it works pretty cool. So the question is, how do I put that on a Raspberry Pi and get that that way? So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you. Just let me get this.
Sorry, Al, what was it called again? I'm going to write
It's called Ham Clock. Ham
okay,
Clock.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and it runs on a Raspberry Pi image. And let me just minimize this and give me 2 seconds to look it up here. And okay, so the website itself, and let me just bring this up for you. Go over here, go to here, and go to here, and go here. Okay, so the actual website is www.clearskyinstitute.com. All one word. clearskyinstitute.com. And this is the image for Ham Clock. And basically, to find out a little bit more, and Tom, jump in here if you know of a quicker or easier way, because this is not to steal Tom's thunder. He found this and shared it with everyone else. If you click on the tabs that are in the middle here, you've got downloads, frequently asked questions, user Contrab, and notes, credits, user guide. But if you click on desktop here on the tab, what happens is this comes up and it says here to install Ham Clock on a Raspberry Pi follow these steps. And there's a series of 6 steps that you need to follow to be able to do it. So the first thing that you need to do is when you get your Raspberry Pi, you need to be able to go to go to the Raspberry Pi OS operating system. You go to this website, and what you do is you take a card, an SD card, make sure you format it and you download the latest Raspberry Pi OS image. Okay, download for Windows, or if you're using a Mac or Ubuntu or whatever, but it's download for Windows. So you download the image on your Windows computer. Okay, you get a file, and then you use a program called Etcher. It's a program that copies files onto SD cards. And the image, it's called Etcher, ETHCHER. And it's an excellent program. And what will happen is it'll download that particular file on your SD card. You then put, yes, go ahead.
Can I just add
Yep,
something?
go ahead, please.
Yes, you can do it the way you're referring to, but if you actually download that, where it's that link for Raspberry Pi Imager,
Yep.
and run that, so if you go in where it says choose OS, you can actually select from that software the Raspberry Pi desktop.
Okay, and bypass Etcher?
Yeah, you could just save step.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Let me just let me hang on here. Where I got to get the right. I got 2 mouses on the go here. So what happens is, okay. So when you do that, what will happen then is this is the image that shows up on your screen, and that's running off the Pi-Star, or off the Raspberry Pi, and it's an image. And if you go up into the corner here, if you look in the corner, you'll see the little Raspberry, where's my cursor? There we go. Click on that, and you get a drop-down box with programming, internet, sound, video, graphics, accessories.
Al, we're not seeing that because we're still seeing your.
Yeah, the reason being, you got to look at my little square.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay, so I've got 2 mouses, and why isn't I've lost, got that, but why is, here we go. Okay, there we go. We got rid of that. So this is the screen, and basically this pops up. So it's like working a Windows computer, but it's using the Raspberry Pi. And basically what you would do is you would go to accessories and go down to, where is it? PDF? No. Terminal. Go down to the terminal, click on terminal, and what will happen is a terminal program will pop up on your Raspberry Pi. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what we do is we go back to the image on the screen, and let me go back here. So you've got the Raspberry Pi screen. If we go back to Ham Clock, Now what it does is once you've got that loaded on your card and you've got your Raspberry Pi, now you need a monitor plugged into it, and again you need your keyboard and mouse, okay, or mouse and keyboard to be able to punch this in off this terminal, okay? So you have the terminal program in your screen. You're going
Is
to
that a
need,
separate mouse and keyboard, Al?
what do you, from what? From the
Well,
one
what?
that I have on my computer?
No, what you're just
Oh,
doing right now, in order to install the Raspberry Pi needs its own keyboard and own mouse?
that is correct. That's why on my Raspberry Pi, I have a dongle that has, see right here, I've got two mouses, one for the Raspberry Pi, one for my computer. I have two keyboards, one for the keyboard for my computer here, and I have a portable keyboard that is wireless that uses for this. So yes, you need a totally separate keyboard and a totally separate mouse plugged into your Raspberry Pi to control the Raspberry Pi, separate from your Windows computer. Does that answer your question, Doug?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
just what I wanted to know here. So,
Okay.
but anyway, just carry on there.
Okay. So you have your image here. Let me just bring this up, and it shows you the cursor and that to be able to put that information on. So now what you do is you follow the instructions off the Raspberry Pi here. So it says to install ham clock on a Raspberry Pi, and this can be a Raspberry Pi 2, Raspberry Pi 3, Raspberry Pi 4, or a Raspberry Zero. The only problem with the Zero is you're going to need the various connections. Now, what happens with the Zero, you need an adapter that looks like this because it's the mini HDMI on one end to the large HDMI on the other end. Okay.
We don't see
Normally,
that.
oh, you don't see that. Why don't you see that? Hang
I'm
on.
looking there where you've got the install the ham clock on the Raspberry Pi on the gray screen and going like that. But there, you're coming up now.
Okay, now do you see it? It's a little adapter that looks like this. It has
That's
the
good.
mini HDMI on one end.
That's good. Yeah, we
If
see
I,
you now.
okay, if I can focus that in there, mini HDMI, and then on the other end is a large HDMI. So what I do is I take my cable that's connected to my monitor or my TV or whatever. I plug the HDMI into this, and I take my Raspberry Pi Zero and plug this into the Raspberry Pi Zero adapter. Now, if you go with a Raspberry Pi 2 or a Raspberry Pi 3 or a 4, you don't need this. You don't need this at all. You get an HDMI cable to an HDMI where the HDMI plugs into the side of the Raspberry and the cable plugs into the back of the HDMI on the TV.
I had a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, I've been looking online because I'm not going to go with the Zero because even though I've got one, I'll use it for something else. I don't know what.
You can do a hotspot with it. See, because
Yeah.
the hotspots there, Janice, I mean, there's all kinds of hotspots that come in
There
zero
is
form.
no slowing you down, is there?
Well, hey, what can I say?
You look like a bird brain there, Janice.
Oh, what's your favorite spot?
You know, so here's the size of a Raspberry Pi Zero with a hotspot. That's what it looks like there. You know, I mean, you turn the thing in there. See, the thing is, there's the mini HDMI port.
Oh, yeah,
On
I've been looking at the ports on here. They're really tiny.
Right. So this is where this cable goes it plugs into the side there like that. And
So
then
would
you
you
plug
recommend
the
getting it?
HDMI.
Would you
What's that?
recommend getting it? Would you recommend getting a 2 or a 3 or a 4? Because I've been online to CanaKit and to Raspberry Pi, and there's the 2 and then the 3 plus B something or other.
Yep.
4 with, I mean, which one would you get? The 2, 3, 4? I'm in a good place now to know this thing because I'm gonna go order one. So
Right.
what do you think?
Well, it
They
depends
come
on
with
how
kit.
much, as you will see with each upgrade, okay, costs more money. Raspberry Pi 2, if you can still get them, is less than a 3 and it's less than a 4, right? So,
Throw the money.
yeah, throw money at it, exactly. The thing is, if you're going to dedicate the Pi to
Mhm.
just the ham clock and the ham clock alone,
Yeah.
then yeah, I'm running this and I've only dedicated this. The problem with the ham 2, or the Raspberry Pi 2, it does not have built-in Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So you have to end up buying a little dongle
Mhm.
that's got the thing on it that connects to your Wi-Fi.
Does
So
it
I would
have it?
recommend going, a
3?
3. Go with the 3B because its processor is faster, it will load faster, and it'll work better. And the thing is, if down the road you say, you know what, I'm tired of the ham clock, I want to put another application. At least with the 3 processor, you're going to have the power to do that. You
Question.
could go with the ham 4, and the ham 4 will work very well, but it's a very high-speed processor, and it's like running a Ferrari to go to the corner store versus
Question.
your local thing. Yes, question, go ahead.
Uh, Alan, what's the difference in the price between the 3 and the 4?
Well, I'd have to go to CanaKit or one of the things. You're probably, I don't know, $20 maybe?
The
Not
Janus is,
much. Not much.
what is the difference, Janus?
Oh God. 20,
That
30
would
bucks.
depend on how much memory you buy, because they
20.
make the ham or the Pi 4 with different levels of memory built in.
So here's a
What about
website.
the cables? Do they
Okay, well,
they
hang on
talked
here.
about, yeah, because they talked about a cable, they talked about a
Yeah.
keyboard
So
kit.
so here, hang on here. Hang on. You're getting way ahead. This is the thing here. So let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go here. Here's a website that's very popular. It's called CanaKit. It's a Canadian-based company, and they sell basically the Raspberry Pi applications and that with it. It's www.canakit, CANAKIT.com. All right, there. Janice bought it from there. She's got the box and everything there. So you can buy the various different things. So you go here, Raspberry Pi 4 kits, Pi 400, Pi 3 kits, Pi 3B plus kits, Pi 3s, and that. So the 3B plus is very, very popular. So if I click on that, we'll go to the kits here, and you may want to get one with a case in it. So if you click on here, here's a case, the whole complete thing. You will get your Raspberry 3 Plus. You will get a power supply with it. You will get a case with it. You'll get an HDMI cable. You'll get power sinks with it. You'll get your SD card. You'll get an SD card reader. It all comes in a box like Janice showed you. And it is for a Pi 3 model B plus starter kit. 16 gigabyte is $98 and 32 gigabyte is $99. It's $1 more for 30 or 16 more gigs. So it's $100 everything comes in the package, and away you go. That's all you would do.
Can I add something here, Al?
Yeah, please.
Um, I have a Raspberry Pi 2. I have a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus.
Yep.
And with the 3B Plus, I tried to make a hard drive server on my network here at home.
Okay.
And the only drawback to the 3B Plus is they don't have an actual Ethernet controller on that board. It's being run by the USB controller.
Okay.
It's very slow. And if you go with a Raspberry Pi 4, it has a gigabit Ethernet controller on the board.
Oh, so it's a little...
And USB 3 ports.
Okay, so the Pi 4 kits. So that's 8 gigabyte. Let's go with one with a case and everything. Well, here's one here. It looks like this may be a good kit. So it's 100 and for 4 gigabyte for a Pi 4. You're at 129, so $30 more. And if you go with an 8 gigabyte, you're 156 or $55. Yeah.
Yeah, and those 4 gigs and 8 gigs, that's the RAM on board.
Right. Right. And you can get the cards,
Well, the
whatever.
card there
It
says
comes
it's
with
100.
a 28 gigabyte card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a faster processor. Absolutely.
That's more computer-like.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the box that comes with it. So for an extra $30, yeah, it may be better to go with the Raspberry Pi 4. And then if you want to do any other applications.
Does it come with a power supply like the other one did?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think this is the power supply right here. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a full kit. Raspberry Pi 4 Model B with 1.5 gigahertz 64-bit quad-core CPU, 4 gig of RAM, Samsung 128 class high-speed card. Can it get 5 amp USB power supply? Yep. And premium cooling silver case with soft touch black lid. Set to micro HDMI to HDMI cables, 6-foot cable, USB card reader, and a quick start guide. So that whole kit there. So, you've got the 3 or the 5. I'm running off a 2, but I'm only running the ham clock application. I mean, with a lot of those programs, Philippe, that you found on that, what type of processor? Are you using a 4 or a 3 to run a lot of those programs?
I'm using a 4 with 8 gigs, but
Okay.
if you're using the program that I downloaded, it needs more a bigger. Well, I put a 16 gig SD card, but if you add on to it, they prefer to have a 32 gig SD card.
Okay, so
I use the 128 card, and I have other programs on it too, so everything works fine. It's just like a real computer.
There you go. So yeah, absolutely. So there's the beauty. If you get something like this, then not only can you run ham clock, but you can run a lot of other amateur radio applications there too with it. So yeah, it's up to your personal interest on what you want to buy, but definitely this is it's quite a computer there. This
they also had keyboards for them and mice kits.
Yep, kits and microphone amplifiers.
If you just back up one screen, you had it there.
Did I? Yeah. So here's a thing here that comes with the mouse and the keyboard.
Right.
Yeah.
With display. Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's got a display. Yeah, you're looking about $200 or something with everything additional. But I mean, you can use any wireless keyboard or wired keyboard. Yeah, and Tom's got one. I got a bunch kicking around here too. There's one.
Just like this
These
one,
are
Janice.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Let me click out of here. So go ahead, Tom. Show it again, but you've got full screen now.
Yeah, just get one of these, Janice. It's just like $20 off of Amazon. It's got
Oh.
the touchpad and the keyboard, and it just comes with the dongle.
And that plugs into the keyboard port?
No,
So
it
it-
plugs into one of these.
One of the
Yeah,
USB
ports
ports?
here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's USB. Okay.
Yeah, it works good.
Okay, well, I have more money than brains. God knows what I'll end up with.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about that, it's portable, right? So I mean,
Mhm.
you can do that with it. But so just to show everyone, okay. So when you decide whatever Raspberry you want, you download the image, okay? Put the image on the computer, bring the image up on your screen, go and bring up the terminal node, and then you go to the ham clock file. You go and click on the desktop area, okay, and then scroll down to install ham clock on a Raspberry Pi. Follow these steps.
Mhm.
These instructions assume that your Raspberry Pi is up and running. If not, then first go to frequently asked questions about the new Pi image. So that's providing you've got the Pi image and the terminal
Mhm.
up. Okay, open the terminal on the target system GUI desktop by clicking on the red Raspberry up in the corner. Go to Accessories, go to Terminal. This will give you a command line prompt for the next step.
Mhm.
Download the installer script by running the following command. Use copy and paste to apply it. So you just go here and do your copy and paste. Right click, do a copy, go over, do a paste on the thing, and bang, it automatically loads up onto your thing. Now that the script is typing the following command, answer the following questions, and by Y or A followed by enter. And then it's the install script. You install that, cut and paste that on it, and now it all comes down. And what happens is when you start up your Pi, what will happen on your screen, it will start to look like this. Let me just do this. So your screen will come up on your Pi. Hang on just a sec. Your screen will come up looking like this.
Mhm.
And give it a second. It'll load, and now it'll set up. It gives you 876. If you click on there, it will let you go in and do all the settings, put your call sign, all the information, and then it loads the information down there, loads up all the information, and then it'll be ready in 9, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now the ham clock now loads on your screen or your monitor.
Okay.
And away you go.
Okay.
And that's
We'll
how
be
it
getting
operates.
phone calls. There's no way I'm going to remember all this, but that's okay. I'll have the information and the instructions and your phone number.
There you go.
Most important. Most
Yeah.
important. Al's phone number. Get that number one on the list.
There you go. Well, we can talk you through step by step. But I tell you, you know, I mean, the Raspberry Pi 2, I think cost me 40 bucks 5-10 years ago. It was sitting in my drawer collecting dust because I was building hotspots at the time, and I had upgraded to a 3 on a hotspot or whatever the case is. Like right here for this hotspot, I'm actually running a Raspberry Pi 3B
Okay.
on there, right, with the dongle and the battery on there. I mean, in here, this one, the dual hotspot that I've got, it's got a Raspberry Pi 3 in here. Our new IRLP server on the top of McLean's Mountain is running a Raspberry Pi 4
Cool.
for the computer to run all the IRLP connections. So,
Now, just between you and me,
yep.
Barbie has been showing a really strong interest in this project. And she wanted to be here. She couldn't. She had to go to the pharmacy, but I will try to pass it along to her. And she's been asking me questions about it. I keep saying, I don't know. But at least this will give me a little something. But yeah. So
well, I'm happy
Barbie's
to
interested.
redo
That's
this
good.
when Barbie comes back and show her again with it. But I mean, it's just one of many programs that you can do. Do you, Philippe, do you have the website again? I'd have to go back through my emails where you go
I've got
to
it
that.
here. You gave it to me.
No, I know the ham clock, but Philippe sent me a website with all these ham applications. Ham clock is one of like 100 different applications you can use. Do you have it by chance? What is it?
Once we install HamPi, its operating system, everything. Once you install it, you get all the programs are automatically loaded. So
it's in which
it's HamPi.
HamPi?
Yeah.